Okay, we're going to look at the lesson for today, but before we do anything, put your names on your papers right now. Put your names on your papers right now. Okay, so today students will be able to solve quadratic equations. We solved equations yesterday. Today it's just a different method of doing that. Today we're going to be using the quadratic formula. So a quadratic function is anything with x squared, okay? When we have that x squared right here, that's a quadratic formula, or quadratic function. Quadratic parent function is y equals x squared. It goes right through the center. Okay, that's a quadratic parent function. A parabola, that's the shape of a quadratic function. Okay, it's that U shape. X-intercepts, they're solutions, roots, zeros, and factors. That's all the same thing. X-intercept is just where it crosses through the x-axis. Now, no one did it yesterday, even though I said to do so. So at this point, pause your video, raise your hand, tell me the 4 other names for an x-intercept. Pause it now and tell me these 4 other names with your mouth of an x-intercept. Okay, quadratic formula. This is the quadratic formula, and that's what we're looking at today. It's just plugging in numbers where the letters are. The discriminant, that's what's inside the square root. If the discriminant's greater than 0, there are 2 real solutions. If it's less than 0, there's no real solutions, and if it's equal to 0, there is 1 real solution. Standard form, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Vertex form, y equals ax minus h squared plus k. Same formula, it's just written in 2 different forms. Okay, we're not looking at completing the square just yet. So now, going to our lesson. Okay, so let's look at this. What does that sign at the top mean? What does that sign at the top mean? Yeah, plus or minus, that's what it means. Plus or minus. Okay, so how do you use it? Well, we have negative 7 plus or minus 20. So it's negative 7 plus 20 equals what? Negative 7 plus 20 equals what? 13. And then negative 7 minus 20 equals what? Negative 27. So that's the difference. Negative 7 plus 20 is 13, and then negative 7 minus 20 is negative 27. That's how you use the plus or minus sign. So we're going to do that for these examples here. So what is 6? 6 plus the square root of 16. 10. Divided by 2? 5. Boom. Now we're going to look at 6 minus the square root of 16 is what? 2. Divide that by 2 and you get 1. Okay, so how many roots do we have? 2. And we already knew that was going to be the case because the discriminant is greater than 1. Okay. So now number 2, we're going to look at this one. So we have negative 6 plus the square root of 16 is what? Divide that by 2. Negative 1. So negative 6 plus the square root of 16 is negative 2. Divided by 2 is negative 1. So now we have negative 6 minus the square root of 16 is what? Negative 10. Divide that by 2. Negative 5. Okay, so how many roots do we have? 2. Did we already know we were going to have 2? Yes, we did, because this discriminant is greater than 1. Okay? So now number 3. We're doing 6 plus the square root of 0 is what? What is 6 plus the square root of 0? 6. And then divide it by 2, and we have 3. Then 6 minus the square root of 0 is what? 6 minus the square root of 0 is what? 6. Then divide that by 2, 3. Okay, so these are the exact same thing. So how many roots do we have? Just 1. Okay, and we knew that because the discriminant is 0. So we only have one root. Okay, for number 4, negative 6 plus the square root of negative 16 is what? Yeah, non-real. So this is an imaginary number. Negative 6 minus the square root of negative 16 is what? Imaginary as well. So number of roots? None. Okay. That's where the imaginary comes in. And we knew that because the discriminant is less than 0. Okay, so now we're on the back side. Now, we're going to plug in the letters into the numbers, okay, into the formula. So, anything in front of x squared is a. So what is a here? 2. Anything in front of x is b. So what is b? 6. And anything that's after that is c. So what's c? Negative 5. Now also keep in mind, this has to be 0 in order for you to find these. If this isn't 0, you need to move the numbers over, okay? If one of these is missing, then it's 0. All right? So we're going to start plugging it in. So the first one is the opposite of b. So what was b? 6. Plus or minus b squared. So what was b? 6. B squared minus 4a. So what's a? 2. And then c. What's c? Negative 5. And that's all over 2 times a. So what's a? 2. Okay, now we have our numbers all plugged in, so we can start solving it. What is the opposite of 6? Negative 6. Plus or minus all of this. So we're going to type that into our calculator. Type it in exactly how you see it, not with the square root. So, parentheses, 6 parentheses squared minus 4, do this with me, parentheses 2, parentheses negative 5. Okay, make sure it looks exactly like what's in there, and hit enter. 76. So 76. And then what's 2 times 2? 4. So now we're going to deal with that plus or minus. So we're going to do negative 6 plus the square root of 76 divided by 4. And negative 6 minus the square root of 76 divided by 4. Okay? So again, we're going to take our calculator. Negative 6 plus second square root 76. Okay? Hit enter. Here's why. Your calculator does PEMDAS, and if you type the whole thing in, it's going to divide by 4 first, and it won't do it right. So hit enter, and then divide by 4. 0.679. I will accept decimals for this one. So 0.679. Okay. Now we're going to type in the other side. Ready? Negative 6 minus the square root of 76 equals that, and then we divide it by 4. Negative 3.679. Negative 3.679. Okay? So now that we've found that, I want you to check your work like this. You can also solve it like this. I just want to see your steps with the quadratic formula. But any quadratic equations, you can solve this way. You ready? Go to y equals. Now again, this has to be equal to 0 in order for this to work. But we're going to type in this whole equation into y equals. So 2x squared plus 6x minus 5. Then hit graph. Now the zeros or solutions or whatever, they are the x-intercepts. So it's where the line crosses through the x-axis. Okay? Here's how you can find the exact coordinates in your calculator. Second, calc. Okay, and we want to find the zeros, right? So you go to 2, hit enter. Now, we're going to find this 0 first on this side. So it says left bound. So this little thing needs to be the left side of this. Okay, it already is, so we hit enter. Then it says right bound. So we need to go to the right side of this. It doesn't matter where on the right side, just somewhere on the right side. Okay, so now these two errors are saying it's somewhere between them. And yes, that's where it's at. So it hits guess, hit enter again. So this says your first zero is at 0.679. Is that what we got? Yes, okay. So now we're going to do the other side. Be sure you're doing this with me so that you know how to do it. Okay, so we need to find the zero. So second calc, go to 0. Left bound. So we're going to the left side of this x-intercept because we already found this one. So the left side of that one. There we go. Then it says right bound. So we go to the right side. Hit enter. It says guess. Hit enter again. And it says that negative 3.679. Is that what we got? Yes. So you can still find your answers that way, especially on the quiz tomorrow, possibly. And this is how you do the quadratic formula. Okay? Now, you are supposed to finish the rest of this by the end of class today. Let me know if you have any questions. Please come check your answers with me. Good luck.